guys, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to ASMR. ASMR showcases spine-chilling stories from Reddit. All will be narrated in a soothing ASMR whisper. So let's find a quiet spot, relax, and dive into the world of whispers and chills with these scary stories from Reddit. It started the first week I moved in. I'd bought a small place just outside of town, an old farmhouse with a few acres and a leaning wooden fence that bordered the back field. It was quiet, which is what I wanted. I was trying to get away from noise, from people, from my old life really. The house wasn't in great shape, but I figured I'd take my time fixing it up. But on the third night, I woke up to the sound of hammering. Soft, steady, rhythmic, not frantic, not violent, just deliberate. I checked the time, 2:13 a.m. I pulled on a sweatshirt, looked out the back window, and there he was. A man, maybe mid-60s, in coveralls and a cap. He had a tool belt on, and he was crouched down by the fence, replacing one of the slats. At first, I thought maybe he was a neighbour, or maybe someone the previous owner had hired and forgot to cancel. But it was the middle of the night. I opened the door and called out. He didn't even flinch, just kept working. I stepped out onto the porch. "Hey," I said louder. He stood up slowly, turned around, looked right at me. No expression, no reaction. Then he tipped his cap and walked back across the field toward the woods. The next morning, I went out to check the fence. He'd done good work, better than I could have. 3 new slats, neatly nailed, smoothed at the edges. The wood looked aged to match the rest, almost, too, perfectly. I asked the neighbour across the road, an older woman named Miss Lillian, if she knew anything about it. She squinted at me like I'd asked if ghosts did plumbing. "No one's touched that fence in years," she said. Then she added, "Be polite if he comes back. He means well." I laughed a little, thinking she was joking. She wasn't. He came back the next night, same time, same quiet hammering, and I did what Miss Lillian said. I stayed inside, just watched. It became a pattern. Every 2 or 3 nights. He never said anything, never reacted if I watched, just worked on the fence, replacing slats I hadn't noticed were broken, fixing sections I thought were fine. Once, I even tried beating him to it. Got out there during the day with nails and wood, did a whole stretch on my own. That night, he ripped it out, clean, quiet, precise, and redid the whole thing. After a couple of weeks, I started sleeping through it. The sound was almost soothing, in a weird way, like a metronome in the distance, a heartbeat. I figured, hey, free fence repair. But then the work changed. He started putting up new posts that ran parallel to the fence, maybe 20 feet inside the field. At first, I thought maybe he was making a second fence line, but he never connected them. Just vertical posts every 10 feet, all the way down. By then, I wasn't sleeping so well. One night, I finally decided to confront him properly. Went outside, got close, shined a flashlight, and I realised he wasn't using nails. No hammer, no saw. He was just placing the wood into the earth, and it stayed. I asked, "What are you building?" He looked up at me, and this time he spoke, keeping things out. I didn't sleep at all after that. I started walking the fence every morning, looking for something. I didn't know what. And then, one morning, I saw it. Just outside the new posts, something had dragged itself through the field. Deep grooves in the earth, 4 lines, like claws, and a long streak between them, like something had slithered. It went all the way up to one of the new posts and stopped. Nothing got past it. That was a month ago. I still hear him out there. Still see new repairs. The fence looks older than ever, but never broken. I don't ask questions anymore. I stay inside. I keep the porch light on, and I never, ever cross into the field after dark, because whatever it is he's keeping out, I don't think it's ever left. I try for a rideshare app on weekends, mostly late nights, bar crowds, quiet suburbs, the usual. This night started normal, a few short rides, a decent tip, nothing strange. Around midnight I got a ping. Pick up just outside the city, near the edge of a residential development. The name on the request just said Mark. He was standing at the corner when I pulled up. Tall, quiet, hoodie, jeans. Didn't say much, just nodded, climbed in the back, and gave me an address about 20 minutes away. No small talk, no music, just silence. I pulled the route up on the GPS, straight shot, highway most of the way. But about 5 minutes in, the app rerouted me. Faster route available, save 11 minutes. I glanced back. Mark hadn't moved, just staring out of the window. Mind if I take the shortcut? I asked. He nodded once, didn't speak, so I took it. The new route turned off the main road, down into a wooded area I didn't recognise. No streetlights, just narrow asphalt, lined with trees on both sides. I figured it was some back road through farmland. GPS still showed we were on track. Everything seemed fine. But then, the road changed. It got rougher. The trees got thicker, leaning in closer, like they were watching. And then the pavement just stopped. Turned into dirt and gravel without warning. I slowed down, checked the map again. Still, said we were on course. Hey, I called out, glancing in the rear view. You sure this is right? Mark didn't answer, just kept staring ahead. A few minutes later, the signal dropped. No more GPS, no bars, just dead space. And that's when I noticed we hadn't passed a single house. No signs, no driveways, just endless forest on either side. And the road, it was narrowing, like it wasn't made for cars. I was just about to stop and turn around when Mark finally spoke. You shouldn't have taken the shortcut. I froze. What do you mean? I asked. No answer. I turned around in my seat and Mark wasn't there. The back seat was empty. I pulled over, heart pounding, opened the door, checked the ground. No footprints, no sound of something walking off. He was just gone. I sat there for a full minute, trying to breathe, trying to think. I even opened the app again. Nothing. No record of the ride, no trip history, like it never happened. I finally put the car in reverse and started backing up. But the road behind me wasn't gravel anymore. It was grass, overgrown and wet, covered in branches and vines like it had been used in years. I slammed on the brakes, looked ahead, and the trees were even closer now, bent inwards, arched above the car like ribs. I turned the headlights off, just to make sure, and in the beam of the moonlight I saw them, figures, lining the trees, not moving, not breathing, just standing, watching. Some of them looked like people, others didn't. I don't remember how I got back. I think I drove blind, cutting through brush, over roots, until I hit pavement again. It was almost 4 a.m. by the time I reached the main road. Phone still dead, passenger seat still empty, but my rearview mirror, there was a handprint on the glass, small, pressed from the inside, not mine. I don't drive that late anymore, and I never take shortcuts, because I don't think that route was on the map. I think it was waiting for someone to follow it, and next time, it won't let them go. We weren't supposed to camp that deep. The trail had signs, weathered and half-fallen, warning about the train past a certain point. Private property, one said. Another had no text left at all, just deep, claw-like gashes across the wood. But Eric wanted the view. Said there was a ridge you could hike up to where the trees cleared and you could see the entire valley. No one else around, just forest, just quiet. So we went, 4 of us, me, Eric, his girlfriend Claire, and Devin. We hiked in about 6 miles and set up camp where the land started to rise. That night, after dinner, we saw the fog. It rolled in low, slow, thick and pale, but not like any fog I'd ever seen before. It didn't swirl, it didn't move with the breeze, it just crept forward, like it was looking for something. Eric said it was just you forming. Claire stayed close to the fire. Devin tried to take pictures, but nothing showed up on his phone, just a blank grey screen. Eventually, we called it a night, tipped into our tents, headlamps off. But I couldn't sleep. I could hear it. Not the fog itself. The fog doesn't make noise. But this one did. It made this soft, wet, clicking sound, like something shifting just out of sight. Padded steps, breath dragging through damp leaves. At one point, I swear I saw the shadow of a hand pressed against the outside of my tent wall. 5 fingers, too long, too slow to move away. But no one screamed, no one said anything. Just that sound, click, drag, breathe. By morning, the fog had gone, but so had Claire. Her back was still there, her boots, no sign of a struggle, just gone. We spent hours shouting her name. Eric ran in circles through the trees, calling for her, begging her to answer. Around midday, we found her, sort of. Her jacket was hanging from a branch, folded neatly like it had been ironed. Tucked into the pocket was a single pine cone. It was warm. We decided to leave, didn't back up, just left the tent and started walking back. But something was off. No matter which way we turned, we kept ending up in the exact same spot. The fire pit, the jackets, Claire's pine cone. It was like the forest folded in on itself when we weren't looking. Devin started muttering, said he'd seen faces in the fog, not people, copies of us. One had my eyes, one walked like Eric. He kept saying the fog was learning, practicing. By sundown, the fog returned, thicker, faster. It didn't roll in, it fell, like a sheet pulled over the sky. That night was different. The fog didn't stay outside. It seeped in, through the zippers, through the seams. It filled my lungs, tasted like dirt and metal. I heard footsteps outside, fast ones, like something was running circles around us, faster and faster. Then a voice. It was Claire, but not Claire. Her voice was too low and too slow. Come see the ridge, it said. I can see your faces now. I blacked out. When I woke up, I was lying by the road, half covered in leaves. Devin and Eric were beside me, both of them staring blankly into the trees. A park ranger found us around noon. We told him what happened. He just looked tired, said we weren't the first to come stumbling out of those woods in a daze. He said the fog settles deepest where the land is sick, where it remembers things that died the wrong way. We never found Claire. We never even found the tents. But a month later, I went hiking again, this time on a marked trail full of people. And I saw a woman standing just off the path, wearing Claire's jacket, folded pine cone in hand. She smiled, but it wasn't her smile. And behind her, down the slope, the fog was already rising. The basement light started coming on around 1:30 in the morning. Not flickering, not falter, just on, steady, pale, like someone was down there. And every time I'd go check, there'd be no one. I live in a small building, old stone place, probably built in the 1930s. My unit's on the ground floor, and the basement door is just down the hall. At first, I thought maybe one of the other tenants had gone down and forgot to switch the light off. It happens. No big deal. But it kept happening. Every night, 1:30 a.m. on the dot. I asked my landlord about it. He was polite but firm. Said no one else had a key to the basement. Storage only, he told me. Old stuff, tools. Said there hadn't been electricity down there for years. Years. I said, then how's the light turning on? He gave me this look, half shrug, half tired smile. You're probably just seeing hallway light bleed through the frame. Old buildings are weird like that. But I wasn't seeing bleed. I was seeing light through the crack under the door. Yellow, weak, definitely real. So I decided to try something. That night, at exactly 1:25 a.m, I sat in the hallway. Just me, the door, and a cheap plastic clock from the kitchen. I had the lights off. No phone, no noise, just watching. And at 1:30, right on cue, click, the light came on. I pressed my ear to the door. Nothing. No footsteps, no movement, just that faint electric hum. I tried the knob, still locked. The next morning, I called the landlord again. Told him I was serious. I wanted to see what was down there. He sighed, like he'd been waiting for that call. Alright, he said. I'll meet you at the building after work, but don't say I didn't warn you. That evening, he showed up with his massive ring of keys. Took him 3 tries to find the right one. When the lock finally turned, the door groaned open, like it hadn't moved in a decade. The bulb was off, but the string was swaying. The basement was freezing and small, just a single room with cement walls and exposed pipes. A wooden chair sat in the middle under the light fixture. Old, weathered, uneven legs. But here's the thing, the seat was warm. I didn't say anything at first, neither did he. We just both stood there. Finally he said, this used to be a boarding house back in the day, before my family bought it. I nodded, and he hesitated, then said, there was a guy, a caretaker. He lived down here, took care of the place, until he didn't. That night I slept with my bedroom door open. I don't know why. I think I wanted to hear if something had changed. And around 1:30, the hallway filled with light. But this time, I heard something. A breath. Just one, drawn in, slow and steady. I didn't move. I didn't blink. And then, I swear to you, the basement door opened. Only an inch, just enough. Enough for the light to pour through like syrup on tile. Enough for that cold breath to spill out into the hallway. I got up in the morning and it was shut tight again, locked, just like before. I haven't told the landlord, haven't said a word to the neighbours, but now I leave something at the foot of the door every night. An offering, I guess. A pair of gloves, a thermos, sometimes a paperback, and in the morning they're always gone. I don't ask questions, and I don't check the time anymore, because I know the light still comes on, and I know he's still sitting there. I didn't order anything. No packages, no subscriptions, no deliveries. But there it was, sitting at my door when I got home from work. A plain brown box. No address label, no postage, just my name, handwritten in thick black marker. First name only. I live in a small complex, 6 units total. Everyone mostly keeps to themselves. I brought the box inside, thinking maybe a neighbour dropped it off by mistake, but it was light, too light, like there was barely anything inside. I held it up to my ear, no sound, but still, I didn't open it, not yet. That night, I set it on the kitchen counter and just stared at it. Something about it felt wrong. The handwriting looked familiar, but I couldn't place it. I eventually eventually slid it into the cabinet under the sink, out of sight, tried to forget about it. But I couldn't sleep, not because I was scared, because I could hear it. Not moving, not ticking, just this faint, high-pitched whine, like electronics warming up, but soft, subtle, right on the edge of hearing. The next morning, it was back on the counter. I live alone, no one has a key, and the front door was still locked. But there it was, same box, same handwriting, still sealed. I opened every cabinet, every drawer, checked under the sink. Nothing disturbed, no footprints, no scratches or marks. I checked the door cam, no footage. It glitched out around 3 a.m, exactly 3 minutes, then resumed like nothing happened. I finally gave in and opened it. Inside was a stone, smooth, black, about the size of a large egg, slightly warm, no tags, no explanation, just resting in a nest of tissue paper. I picked it up and immediately dropped it. It felt like it twitched in my hand, not pulsed, twitched. I wrapped it in foil, stuck it in a shoebox, shoved it in the back of my closet. And that night, I dreamed of hallways, long, narrow ones, with doors that all led back to the same room. And in that room was a man, bent over something on the floor, whispering to it. When I got closer, he turned around, and his face was my face. When I woke up, the box was back on the kitchen counter, only now the stone was gone, and in its place was a note, folded once. No handwriting this time, just one line typed. You kept it too long. It saw you. I tried to throw the box out the next day, walked it down to the dumpster behind the building, but when I got back upstairs, there it was, back on the counter. Same box, empty now, but still there. I don't know what I accepted. I don't know what rule I broke, but I haven't been the same since. I hear things in static. My reflection lags by half a second, and I keep catching glimpses of my own apartment on other people's TVs. Last night, I turned on the news, and for a full second, I saw myself standing in my kitchen, staring at the camera. Right behind me was the box, still sealed. It started with a soft bump, just one, right above my ceiling, at exactly 2:47 in the morning. I rent the top floor of a converted Victorian. It's just me up here. Below me are 2 other tenants, but above me there's nothing, just roof and sky. The landlord said so when I moved in. There's no attic, just beams and insulation up there. I believed it. So that first night, I figured it was an old pipe settling. No big deal. But the bump came back the next night. Same time, same spot. And then the next night, it came in 2s. Bump, bump. Like something shifting its weight. I started waking up just before 2:47. Like my body knew what was coming. I'd lie there in the dark, counting down. And sure enough, bump, bump, bump. 3 now, always right above the ceiling, centred perfectly over my bed. I told myself it was wind, raccoons, something rational. But there was no crawl space, no vents, no openings up there at all. So I climbed out onto the fire escape and looked at the roof. Flat, solid, no hatches, no vents large enough for anything to squeeze through. Still, I couldn't shake it. After a week, I asked the downstairs neighbour, Maya, if she ever heard anything. She shook her head. No. Why? You having mouse problems? I said it didn't sound like mice. I told her the timing was always the same, 2:47 every night. She laughed a little, but I could tell it unsettled her. Then she said, that's when the last tenant moved out, 2:47 in the morning, left all her stuff behind, just vanished. No note, nothing. That night I stayed up. I positioned myself under the spot where the noise always came from. At 2:46, everything was silent. No cars, no wind, even the street lamp outside flickered out for a second. Then, at exactly 2:47, bump, bump, bump. Louder this time. I turned on the flashlight I had and aimed it at the ceiling. Of course, nothing. But when I turned the light off again, I swear I could hear something. I called the landlord the next day, asked again if there was any kind of attic space. He sighed. There used to be, he said, before we renovated. It was sealed years ago. There's no access anymore. I asked if anyone ever reported hearing noises up there. He went quiet, then said, only the ones who stayed too long. I don't know what that meant, and I didn't ask, but now the bumps have turned into dragging sounds. Not fast, not frantic, just slow, deliberate scraping, as if something is moving through the dust and the wood and nails, inch by inch. It circles above me, sometimes stops right above where I'm standing. I can't explain it, but it feels like it's listening. And this morning, I noticed something. A fine layer of dust had fallen onto my pillow, right in the centre. Above it, a tiny crack in the ceiling, one I swear wasn't there before. I think it's trying to open something, a seam, a crawl space, maybe a way through. I don't sleep at night anymore. I just wait, listening to it shift above me, knowing that sooner or later, it's going to find a way in. I take the train home every night at exactly 11:06 p.m. Same platform, same route. I've done it so many times, I don't even check the signs anymore. I just walk, swipe, and wait. It's not a busy station, just 2 benches and a flickering overhead light. You can hear the rats in the tunnels if you're quiet enough. About 2 weeks ago, I noticed him, middle-aged, beard, wearing this bright orange windbreaker, the kind you'd wear on a construction site or during a hunting trip, except it was spotless, brand new, no dirt, no scuffs. He stood at the far end of the platform, completely still. But here's the part that stuck with me. He was always facing the wall, never turned, never paced, just stood there, facing the concrete. At first, I figured he was just another eccentric regular. The city's full of them. But then I saw him the next night. Same time, same spot, same windbreaker, still facing the wall. The night after, again, and the night after that. Always standing there when I arrived. Never got on the train, and never turned around. I tried watching him, subtle glances. Sometimes I'd pretend to look at my phone while the camera faced his way, but the second I lifted my phone even a little, he'd stop breathing. I'm not kidding. I know what breathing looks like. The rise and fall of shoulders, the movement in the back. And when I pointed my phone in his direction, he froze completely, like a statue. I tested it a few times. Phone up, he stops. Phone down, he resumes. I mentioned him to a co-worker. He laughed and said, sounds like a performance art thing, don't feed into it. So I didn't, for a while. Until one night, I got stuck late at work. Didn't make it to the station until almost midnight. The platform was empty. No orange jacket, no wall-watching man. I can't explain the relief I felt, like the air suddenly felt lighter. I waited alone for my train, and that's when I heard it. Footsteps, coming down the stairs behind me, slow. I turned, and there he was, orange jacket, same posture, except this time he was looking right at me. He didn't move, didn't blink, just stared. I turned away, pretended I didn't see him, but I could feel him watching me. The train arrived, doors opened, I stepped on, so did he. He didn't sit, didn't hold the rail, just stood in the aisle 3 feet from my seat, staring at me with empty, glassy eyes. I got off 3 stops early. After that night, I started driving again. devastation completely. But a few days ago, I saw something that made my stomach drop. I was scrolling a local subreddit and saw a photo someone posted of a creepy guy lurking on the green line. And there he was, orange jacket, back to the wall, face turned just slightly towards the camera. Only this time, his face was mine, not similar, not a doppelganger, exactly mine, but wrong, off, like a version of me that never smiled. I don't know what he is or what he wants, but last night someone rang my apartment buzzer. I didn't answer, but when I looked through the peephole, I saw orange, just a hint of it, disappearing down the hall. I've since taped black paper over all my mirrors, deleted every photo of myself, even the baby ones, because I think he's trying to become me, and the only thing standing in his way is that I still remember who I am. Well, that concludes today's Scary Reddit stories. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this creepy journey, don't forget to like and subscribe. Please also leave your own spooky experiences below in the comments. Who knows, I could add it to the next video, which would be amazing. Until next time.